My castaway today is the screenwriter and director John Huston. John, where were you born?
I was born in the Middle West, in Missouri, a tiny little town called Nevada, and then I went to St. Louis, and my family was a wandering family. I went to Texas and St. Louis and Indianapolis and Cincinnati and St. Louis again. And I can't tell you when it was the first time I heard the St. Louis blues, but it left an indelible impression on me.
Which leads me on to my first record, which is Bessie Smith and the St. Louis Blues.
Now, Mr. Huston, you are, of course, the son of the celebrated actor Walter Huston. We know that your early years were adventurous, and your later years as well come to that. You quit high school to become a boxer, and you did pretty well, didn't you?
Well, I boxed while I was in high school. Yes, did quite well. Dreamt very briefly of becoming a welterweight champion.
What was your weight?
When I started boxing, I weighed 138 pounds, and when I finished, I was 145.
Do you ever regret not having had a longer scholastic background, going on to college in the usual way?
I view that with mixed feelings. I didn't stop studying when I left school. In fact, I went to an art school then, and encountered various important influences that served to shape my life into what it's become.
You became an actor briefly while you were 19. You joined the Mexican cavalry. That love of horses has always stayed with you.
My mother was a fine horsewoman.
Yes.
And among my first recollections is the sound she used to put me in front of her on the saddle before I could walk. And I remember the sound of the horses' hooves on the cobbles at night. She used to take me for rides at night.
You still keep horses?
Yes.
Let's have your second record.
And Summertime from Porgy and Bess.
Summertime, and the living is easy. Fish are jumping, and the cotton is high. Oh, your daddy's rich, and your mare is good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry, 'cause one of these mornings you're gonna rise up singing, and you'll spread your wings and take to the sky. But until that morning, there ain't nothing can harm you, with your daddy and mammy standing by. Summertime, and the living is easy. Fish are jumping, and the cotton is high. The cotton is high. Oh, your daddy's rich, and your mare is good looking. So hush, little baby, don't you cry, 'cause one of these mornings you're gonna rise up singing. Child, you'll spread your wings, spread them wings, be forced to take to the sky. Yes, take to that sky. But until that morning, there ain't nothing gonna harm you, 'cause you got your daddy and mammy standing by, standing by.
You're a dialogue writer in Hollywood. In the early 1930s, you had a spell as a writer here in London for Gaumont British. What scripts did you work on?
I worked on a couple of scripts that came to absolutely nothing.
Never made?
No, never made, no.
It said that you had a little bit of a burn in the studios and that you had to sleep rough for a while.
That's right. I ran out of money here, and I found myself up against it. And we even sang cowboy songs in the street.
Yes.
A friend of mine and I did, because we weren't allowed to work, of course.
Yes, yes.
And we slept on the embankment, and we used to elude the police and stay overnight in Hyde Park. It was summer, fortunately.
Were your cowboy songs appreciated?
Well, they gave us enough money to go into pubs and get hard-boiled eggs.
Great. Then you went to Paris to paint. How long did that last?
About a year.
Some directing in the Broadway theatre, back to Hollywood, some successful scripts, and your first assignment as a director, The Maltese Falcon. Was that subject given to you, or did you choose it?
No, I chose it. It had been made a couple of times.
Yes.
But I'd never thought real justice had been done it. And I took the book, a book written by a friend of mine, a great writer, I think, to this day, Dashiell Hammett,
Yes.
and simply edited the book. It was hardly a job of script writing, rather one of editing. Made it into a picture.
Now, your first picture was a runaway success. Did that present problems?
Oh, no, it cleared the way of difficulties.
Great. You did a couple more, then went into the United States Army and shot some documentaries. Back in civilian clothes, you directed your father in The Treasure of the Sierra Madre. That must have been rewarding.
Yes, the director has a way of becoming the father figure on the set, so our roles were rather reversed.
It's time we had another record. What now?
This is John McCormick and Jean with the light brown hair.
I dream of Jeannie with the light brown hair, born like a vapor on the summer air. I see her tripping where the bright streams play, happy as the daisies that dance on her way. Many were the wild notes her merry voice would pour, many were the blithe birds that warble them o'er. I dream of Jeannie with the light brown hair, floating like a vapor on the soft summer air. I sigh for a Jeannie, but her light form strayed far from the fond hearts round her native glade. Her smiles have vanished and her sweet songs flown, flitting like the dreams that have cheered us and gone. Now the nodding wild flowers may wither on the shore, while her gentle fingers will cull them no more. I sigh for Jeannie with the light brown hair, floating like a vapor on the soft summer
You never settled down long with one studio.
Not for... Well, I did more films with Warner Brothers than any other.
Yes.
I suppose any other one single company.
The early Humphrey Bogart films were with Warner Brothers, were they not?
African Queen, Treasure of the Sierra Madre, The Maltese Falcon, Beat the Devil. Those were the best, I think.
My personal favorite among your films is Moulin Rouge, the story of Toulouse-Lautrec. How did you get those period location shots of Paris? They didn't look as if they were shot very early in the morning, but you had those long vistas of empty streets with just a few horse-drawn carriages.
Well, it is true. They were shot early in the morning. And we used a special Ozzie Morris, the cameraman. We devised special techniques for the film in keeping with the spirit of that time, I hope.
Yes.
It was the intention. I don't think it's one of my best films. Only from the standpoint of Toulouse-Lautrec himself. You couldn't tell the real story of Toulouse-Lautrec at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And with the New View's censorship, why, you could do a much better, much truer picture
Yes.
of that extraordinary little man.
Pictorially, it was a gorgeous film. You worked, of course, to predetermined colour values, colour scheme.
That's right.
As you did on Moby Dick. I believe you processed black and white on top of colour, did
That's
you?
right. That's right. It was a kind of wedding of black and white and colour to give it, to fortify it, as it were.
You shot that the hard way in real storms.
We did indeed. And 3 times I thought we were on our way to the bottom.
Really?
So did everyone else.
How long did that film take in production?
We were shooting for more than 6 months.
Mm-hmm.
It was the worst winter in maritime history. Lifeboats were capsized off Fishguard. I mean, the boats that go to do rescue work.
Mm-hmm.
And then we went down to the Canary Islands and shot. It was quite an adventurous undertaking, and we were lucky that we lost no hands.
The Atlantic was littered with escaped electronic whales afterwards.
It was indeed.
Let's have some more music.
The Beatles and Yellow Submarine.
Now, you gave her first speaking part to Marilyn Monroe, and you directed her last film, The Misfits. Since her death, there's been something of a smear campaign about how difficult she was. She couldn't learn lines. How did you find her?
Oh, not at all difficult. The poor child had great difficulties within herself. The pressures of her life were simply too much for one as frail as she was emotionally.
Yes. Well, certainly you got the performances.
Oh, yes. There was never any question about that. Up to the limits of her ability, why, she did everything in her power.
Yes. Do you think film actors are still paid too much money?
I don't think anybody can be paid too much money.
I like that answer. What's number 5 to be?
This is My Lady Greensleeves.
I'd lay a kingdom at her feet, nor seek a richer merchandise. Come, love me, all my joy, thou alone art my delight. Come, love me, my heart of gold, and who but my Lady Greensleeves? of love be my heart of gold and true, but my Lady Greensleeves.
Well, let's talk about some of the more recent films of yours. The Bible, that was a real epic. Only the first 20 chapters of Genesis, that...
20 verses.
First 20 verses,
Yes.
Is that as far as you're going?
I wouldn't go a verse further, much less a book or chapter.
Then after that, 3 costume pictures in a row. Fat City, back with boxing, and a very successful picture. Did you enjoy that?
Yes, I liked making it very much, and I liked the film.
And your latest one, The Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean. Tell us about that. What's that about?
It's a real character, has very little to do with the facts of the case. The judge is portrayed as a hanging, shooting judge.
He was a real character.
He was a real character. He never hanged or he never shot anybody. In fact, he made his fortune, his very small fortune, by shortchanging train passengers who would stop at this little watering place when the train got a drink and have a glass of beer, and they would give him $5 bills, and he'd shortchange them. And that was it was cupidity rather than violence that Judge made his livelihood. It is true that he worshipped at the shrine of Lily Langtry, and she did, in fact, visit that town after the judge died, the town that he had renamed Langtry in her honor.
Yes. Let's have some more
This
music.
is Maxine Sullivan, Loch Lomond.
Oh, you'll take the high road and I'll take the low road. I'll be in Scotland for you. But me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. By yon bonny banks and my young bonny breaks, where the sun shines bright on Loch Lomond, where me and my true love were ever wont to gay, on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. Oh, you'll take the high road and I'll take the low road. I'll be in Scotland for ya, but me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. Was there that we parted in yon shady glen by the steep, steep side of Ben Lomond, where in purple hue the highland hills we view, and the moon coming out in the gloaming.
You take the high road and I'll take the low road.
But I'll be in Scotland for ya, but me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny banks, on the bonny, bonny banks, on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond, Loch Lomond.
What's going to be your next film? Is the one in the pipeline?
The Mackintosh Man, again with Paul Newman.
Some years ago, you directed an opera at the Scala Milan. Is opera a great interest?
As a young man, I used to go to the opera quite a lot. My aunt, my father's sister, was a concert contralto, and she had a great deal to do with the opera in America. So I was raised on the opera, really.
You were given a choice of half a dozen to choose from, and you chose the premiere of a new one, The Mines of Sulphur by Richard Rodney Bennett.
Yes, it seemed to be a little more of an adventure than undertaking, and maybe I was a bit wary. As it was being done in Milan at the La Scala, why I was a little timid about doing an Italian opera.
Yes, that's wise. Do you have any further theatrical or musical ambitions, or are you staying with Sally Lloyd?
I'm getting to the age where I'd better stick behind the camera.
Well, let's go straight into your seventh record. What's that to be?
Shenandoah by Ernie Ford.
Oh, Shenandoah, I hear you calling. Hi-oh, you rolling river. Oh, Shenandoah, I long to hear you. Hi-oh, I'm bound away across the wide Missouri. She's a mighty river. Hi-oh, you rolling river. When she rolls down, her topsails shiver. Hi-oh, I'm bound away across the wide Missouri. Farewell, my dearest, I'm bound to leave you. Ohio, you rolling river, oh Shenandoah, I'll not deceive you. Hi-oh, I'm bound away across the wide
We got your last record. What's that to be?
My Father Walter and September Song.
When I was a young man courting the girls, I played me a waiting game. If a maid refused me with tossing curls, I'd let the old earth take a couple of whirls, while I plied her with tears in place of pearls. And as time came around, she came my way. As time came around, she came. But it's a long, long while from May to December, and the days grow short when you reach September, and the autumn weather turns the leaves to flame, and I haven't got time or the waiting game. And the wine dwindles down to a precious brew. September, November, and these few vintage years I'd share with you. These vintage years I'd share with you.
But it's a long, long while from May to December, and the days grow short when you reach September, and I have lost one tooth, and I walk a little lame, and I haven't got time for the waiting game. And the days turn to gold as they grow few. September, November, and these few golden days I'd spend with you. These golden days I'd spend with you. When you meet with the young men early in spring, they court you in song and rhyme. They woo you with words and a clover ring. But if you examine the goods they bring, they have little to offer but the songs they sing, and a plentiful waste of time of day. A plentiful waste of time. But it's a long, long while from May to December. Will the clover ring last till you reach September? And I'm not quite equipped for the waiting game, but I have a little money and I have a little fame, and the days dwindle down to a precious few. September, November, and these few precious days I'd spend with you. These precious days I'd spend with you.
If you could take only one disc of the 8, which would it be?
My favorite record would be Shenandoah.
And you're allowed to take one luxury to the island, any one thing you would like to have of no practical use.
Oh, that's easy, Roy. Havana cigars.
And one book. You have the Bible and Shakespeare.
My book, choice, is Dialogues of Plato.
Splendid. Of course you shall have that.
And thank you, John Huston, for letting us hear your Desert Island discs.
It's been a real pleasure, Roy, to talk to you today.
Goodbye, everyone.